Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here on WatchBox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I'd be able to deliver my best to your inbox on a daily basis. If you like our watches, you can see them and you can buy them on thewatchbox.com with almost 2,000 pre-owned luxury and vintage timepieces available. Buy, trade, or sell 24 hours a day on thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing the Jaeger-LeCoultre Deep Sea Vintage Chronograph, a 2012 boutique special edition. This is a what-if watch. That is to say, what if the 1959 Jaeger-LeCoultre deep sea diving alarm had actually been a chronograph? Well, you'd probably have wound up with something that looks like the watch on my wrist. Now, the original timepiece was 39.5 millimeters, and an alarm. This is 40.5 and a chronograph, but there's a great deal of family resemblance and core DNA that unites the two. So 40.5 millimeters across the round of the case, not including crown or pump style pushers. The watch isn't exceptionally thick, 13.4 with a nicely domed plexiglass and a sloped conical bezel. You'll be able to slide it underneath the dress cuff. This is a 100-meter water-resistant watch that can also be used for dress affairs. Lug to lug, it has a 49.2 millimeter stance, but you can see just how fine the case lines are and how well proportioned the watch is as a whole. 20 millimeters is the lug spacing should you wish to accessorize, and this is the cheat sheet advice. That which appears to be a rubber vintage tropic-style strap is actually embossed leather, so don't get this one wet. Throw it on a NATO, which would look great, or a period-correct tropic rubber, and you're good to go. Now, the timepiece does have a comfortable feel on the wrist as the case back, which is a special edition for Jaeger-LeCoultre boutiques, features the original rebreather strapped diver, as well as the nomenclature Deep Sea. You'll also note screwed in, a special edition, because this was a factory store special series. And I can't say anything bad about the aesthetic or the comfort of that tropic style strap, as it features an imprint, an embossed imprint that looks very much like the original rubber, but it has the comfortable feel and the souplesse of leather. Just remember to swap it out for a water-resistant band before you take this one swimming. Not only does it cop the vintage style perfectly, but there's even a pared down vintage-inspired steel pin buckle that's distinctly unlike anything Jaeger-LeCoultre offers in the year 2018. So the watch is very into the vintage vibe, and you can see that continues in the fine lines of the case. The lugs are more straight than beveled, but they do have a lovely beveled polished hairline that expands as it approaches the end of the lug. You can see the ends are squared off and strident against the curvature of the case flank, which is narrow, long, and thin, almost like a dress watch by modern standards, and then the hoods of the lugs themselves are of high polish. The timepiece has a bezel that does not rotate, though it may appear to rotate. It's used for reference, and there will be a lume shot at the end of the video so you get a clear view of everything that is lumed and to what degree. The dial is simple, vintage-inspired, and effective. Gorgeous, ecru style Super-LumiNova creates the look of vintage radium, and back in 1959 it was radium on Jaeger-LeCoultre and LeCoultre timepieces. It's a handsome and warm tone. You'll also note twin register layout built on top of a 750 series JLC automatic movement. These are generally 3 registers with a date. This one twin registers and clean. Syringe style hands, incredibly charming and handsome. And of course you'll note a simple white on black calibration with a matte black dial base enabling anti-glare properties as well as at-a-glance legibility. The timepiece features twin recessed registers for a vintage twin register look, and you can start the chronograph and just leave it running, because you'll note with the chronograph off, the watch has no constant seconds indicator, nor does it have any kind of constant motion, so it's not a very dynamic dial. It's rather dead when you don't have the chronograph running. Thanks to the vertical clutch engagement system of the watch, you can simply leave the chronograph running, so you always have some animation on the dial, and the vertical clutch means there will be no additional wear and tear to the movement. I will also say that 100-meter water resistance achieved via a push-down crown, advanced seals, and a screwed-in caseback. This is an aquatic watch, though it is not a dive watch. It doesn't meet the modern-day ISO standard 6425 for a diver. It is more of a swimmable sports watch than a dive watch. The caliber itself is JLC caliber 751G. Again, we talked about the modifications that turn the triple register and date caliber 750 series into what you see here. But inside, the architecture is contemporary. Twin mainspring barrels, automatic winding with efficient unidirectional action, and ceramic rotor bearings. The twin barrels imparting a 65-hour power reserve. It is a free-sprung balance for shock resistance. 37 joules vertical clutch and column wheel. So you have the vertical clutch system, which in addition to letting you run the chronograph continuously, ensures that the chronograph always starts without jumping, unlike a lateral clutch. And thanks to the column wheel, you can feel and you can hear the interaction of the levers and horns of the chronograph with the column wheel architecture. It's just a crisper, more traditional fashion of building a chronograph. Additional refinements include hacking seconds, so if for whatever reason you did have the chronograph running and you wanted to stop the balance to synchronize your seconds hand to a reference time, you do have that hacking or stop seconds function. 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate means that it has a modern high beat rate in spite of the vintage aesthetic, and it does feature a double laser welded hairspring, so the hairspring itself is welded at the stud and the collet for additional shock resistance and stability. A handsome watch, a special watch, a rare watch by the standards of JLC Sportsters in the modern era. It accurately channels the past in a fashion that's, well, frankly, a bit of a fantasy on the wrist. So the imagery of 1959, the build quality of 2012, and of course, still a dream to live in the year 2018. Put it on your watch for summer this year. And we're back with the Jaeger-LeCoultre. The Jaeger-LeCoultre Deep Sea Vintage Chronograph, a vintage-style boutique exclusive for 2012. You can see the bezel that does not rotate pays you back for your patience with a spectacular luminescent four-corner shot. You can see this watch, which looks like it must be at least 46 millimeters based on the Lume shot, by the light of day on our website.